Let's bring in our panel for some first thoughts. Jim Gilmore and David Carlucci. Great to have you both on the program. And David, I'll start with you. How pro-labor do you think this president is?
Just the opposite of what pro-labor means and what we would want a politician to stand up for. The fact that Donald Trump is saying the American worker first, what does that mean? I mean, to me, it means you put the American worker actually first and not the CEO or the shareholder. But to Donald Trump, breaking union contracts and collective bargaining for, as you had said in the beginning of this program, about 1 million workers, this is a devastating blow to organized labor, to the middle class in the United States. And I'm hoping that it's a wake-up call to many of the rank and file in organized labor to recognize that our rights that have been fought for decades before us are now eroding before our eyes. And Donald Trump has no problem saying one thing and yet doing another, saying that the American worker is first, but actually putting them last in terms of any type of benefit that they get or protection to actually keep their job or be promoted through the ranks.
Jim, what do you think?
Well, you know, labor law in the United States is enshrined in statute. And I wouldn't get too excited about the idea that labor unions are going to go away. We in Virginia, of course, are a right-to-work state. We don't require our people to join a union. But nevertheless, the main point is this. The main point is that President Trump got the votes of working men and women across the United States, and particularly in the so-called Rust Belt, which elected him to a second term. And since that time, President Trump has worked pretty hard to demonstrate all that to working men and women through his policies, through his tariff policies, through his effort to try to rebuild America's industrial base, to try to at least begin to move in the proper direction to protect workers' opportunities. So I think that working men and women across the country know that he's moving in the best direction that he can, in the right direction that he can. And this notion that somehow workers are here and billionaires are there is just neo-Marxist nonsense.
Jim, can I just ask you this question? Sure. I mean, there was a piece in the New York Times by a historian of labour who said that Trump is the most ruthlessly anti-labour president since before the Great Depression. Talked about ending the right to collective bargaining and so on. So you may say that it's neo-Marxist nonsense, but some serious academics who have studied this think he is damaging unions and workers' rights.
Well, then some commentators think one thing and some think another. But the fact is that workers' rights are enshrined in the United States statutes, and this president is working hard to actually rebuild the working men and women's opportunities in this country. During a time, of course, when we exported a lot of jobs, and we know that. And so by putting the policies in place now, he's really focusing on working men and women, and they know that, and that's why they're voting Republican now. The Democratic Party is failing in this, and I think the state senator would agree with that. They're just not getting the votes of people because they're not really pursuing pro-worker policies the way they assert that they are.
We're going to bring... I've got to push back on that to say that these laws are enshrined. Yes, but Donald Trump is doing everything he can to go around the laws enshrined into statute. He's doing executive orders to end collective bargaining, to undo Obama-era rules where qualifying for overtime. He's now limited that threshold, meaning thousands of employees don't qualify for overtime when they should. So it's one step after the other, where Donald Trump is doing everything he can to erode the rights of the American worker step by step. And maybe it's not through a law, a blatant law, but it's through executive orders. It's through the actions he's taken. And that only props up the corporate interest in the United States to do just the same that the United States is doing. In fact, we are 300,000 less U.S. employees than we were at the start of this year. That's a big problem because that means less services to the American public. And if it was about efficiency, I would be with you. But a lot of this is just cuts across the board to make up some official number or artificial number or goal that Donald Trump has set. But it's not about efficiency. It's not about promoting the American worker or the services to the American people that we've come to expect and we deserve.
All right, David and Jim, thank you for the moment.